Today I'm going to show you the best deck for every single win condition in Clash Royale. Coming up first, we have the Goblin Barrel. Now the best Goblin Barrel deck in the game right now is this Hypno Bait Log Bait variation with no spell, which is kind of crazy, but you're trading out the spell for extra loggable units. You have Wall Breakers, Dark Goblin, Goblin Barrel, Princess, and Goblin Gang all applying spell bait, and the pressure of all these cards put together is so hard for the opponent to deal with. You constantly applying pressure, cycling to your Evos, setting up a counter push with your Valk so you can get a good Evo barrel, and even after the nerfs to Ice Spirit and Goblin Barrel, you still see immense success by Hypno using this deck. He's constantly on top ladder with it, and it is very strong, especially in the right hands. Next up is Elixir Golem. The best E-Golem deck in Clash Royale is this right here. E-Golem is not like the most insane deck of all time. Right now it's kind of mid, but this E-Golem deck is still really powerful and can win you games on the first push. It's very similar to P.E.K.K.A. Goblin Giant, where you just start up a machine the back, Night Witch the back, or use them on defense, and then once you use them on defense, all you have to do to apply a counter push is have 3 Elixir to slap an E-Golem in front. So you don't usually start E-Golem pushes in the back unless you're going into specific matchups where you can't get punished for that. You just play very light defense, cycle to your Archer's Eva to put him in the middle, and then just rage, zap, curse stuff that just turns them into goblins and wins you the game. Also, there are practically no replacements for any of the cards in this deck. You have to use this exact specific combination of cards and they will get you some good wins. Next up are the Royal Hogs. This is currently the best Royal Hogs deck in the game and has been for a very long time. Queen Hogs has the ability with 3-card cycle to slap a queen in the back and get the craziest cycle of all time. The defense is rather easy, especially when a queen's already on the board, because not only is she doing an insane amount of damage, you're also getting the 3-card cycle that allows you to have log for everything, delivery for everything, cycle cannons at will, and you're also going to be able to constantly switch between splitting the pigs or just going in one lane, and the fast cycle allows you to even outcycle decks with 2 hog counters in them. And in case that doesn't work, defense is strong enough where you can just 3-card cycle Earthquake your opponent, so it is kind of important that you do have a champion, and this deck is still fairly strong. This is the best Electro Giant deck in Clash Royale. E-Giant is in a very interesting place right now, but it still has the potential to beat almost any deck in the game. You're not gonna like really start up E-Giant pushes as much as you'd think. It's not really a beatdown deck. It's more of you defend with cards like the Inferno Dragon and then start counter pushing with these. You want to cycle to your Evo Inferno and Evo Cage because they're going to bail you out of really tough situations. It's very important to have those 2 cards as well. And although you don't have that many troops, the Fire Spirit comes in because it allows you to have a faster cycle and you're able to spend more on E-Giant Lightning. So it's important to always make sure you set up defense before you go in with your Electro Giant, because if you don't, you're just going to go E-Giant, you're going to have to defend your opponent when they pressure you, and you're not going to be able to afford Lightning, and then you're screwed. This is the best Lava Hound deck in Clash Royale. Now, sometimes you'll use Guards over Tombstone and Inferno over Mega Minion, but as it stands right now, the most successful Lava deck is this right here. You're going to have a good time against a lot of mid-ladder opponents, as well as several of the decks in the meta, with the really powerful defense of the Evo Valk, Tombstone and Mega Minion bailing you out in a lot of situations, and just playing slow until you can figure out what your opponent's playing and when you can time your Lavas correctly will allow you to get big wins. And a ton of people just don't have the greatest air defense, especially in certain decks in the meta, like the Royal Hogs deck we already showed, or stuff like Drill. So when you time your pushes right, you're going to be able to make really hard to stop Lava Loon pushes due to your opponent's lack of air. And even if your opponent has a lot of air, the defense is good enough where you don't necessarily need to go Lava to win certain matchups. This is the best Expo deck in Clash Royale. Expo is really strong at the moment against a ton of matchups. As you can see, the best player of the Expo, Betfist, is able to beat so many different kinds of matchups. That means outplay potential, ladies and gentlemen. If you practice with Expo, you're gonna have a lot of success, especially using the very broken evolved archers to be able to bail you out and protect your Expo from a lot of things that would normally full counter the Expo. So setting up a proper Expo push and not just throwing Expos at the bridge, making sure you can try to prod your opponent to get the right cards out, and then get yourself an Elixir advantage where you can punish with expos, protect them using the Tesla, the Knight, and making sure you're always keeping an eye on your opponent's Elixir will allow you to beat almost any deck in the entire game with expo. There is so much room for outplay potential. It's one of the best decks to pick up if you're really serious about learning the game. Next up, we've got Royal Giant. Royal Giant is a fairly strong win condition, although he still fell off on top ladder. He's going to be a great card to play for every other range of ladder. Of course, just the synergy with the Fisherman, the Monk, the Hunter, and the Royal Giant is unmatched throughout Clash Royale. And okay, maybe P.E.K.K.A. Goblin Giant Curse, because that's just stupid. But the Royal Giant and the Hunter go hand in hand. The Monk in front of the Royal Giant to block projectiles, block spells. It's going to be a great way to get 3-card cycle going as well, so you can cycle extra logs, extra fireballs. This is a very fast cycle deck as well, and it's always going to be important to remember to save your Monks for the right times, to not go in Royal Giants and all just whenever you feel like it, to save the Fisherman for offense when you can, and to make sure that when you can't break through with the Royal Giant, you try starting up Royal Giants in the back, so that way you can cycle up to his second one to put at the bridge and go ham. This is the best Hog Rider deck in Clash Royale. Hog Rider is one of the strongest win conditions in the game's history, and it is one of the best to pick up, especially since as a new player, you unlock all the cards for this deck besides Mighty Miner, which you can switch out for Knight or Valkyrie really early in the game. You're going to have tremendous success with just the sheer amount of hogs you get down, very similar to Hoggies. When you can, you want to put a champion in because you're allowed to just Mighty Miner the back, and then once you go Hog Rider, your cycle increases. You're going to be able to cycle hogs way faster. Earthquake Chip does win you games when you have such solid defense like the Mighty Miner or Valk with the Evo Firecracker, Evo Cannon. There's also other Evo options to play in case you don't want to use one of those 2 Evos. But the Hog Rider is just a very strong win condition. And of course, it's necessary to play it in a fast cycle deck, and this is one of the best and most versatile decks in all of Clash Royale. This is the best Mortar deck in Clash Royale. Mortar is really strong because it's a very good synergetic card with the rest of the bait metas, and especially this deck. You're going to be able to synergize with the Skelly Barrel, the Goblin Gang, the Spear Goblins, the Skeleton King ability. They're all going to force spells out of your opponent, apply a ton of pressure, and the cards all apply pressure. They don't just spell bait. They're very good at applying pressure alongside the Cannon card, which is a very strong offensive card, not only to apply pressure but to protect the Mortar. And once you get to the Evo Mortar, that's the one you really want to focus on using on offense. You don't necessarily want to use your Mortars on offense all the time because they are an important part of the defense. You'd be underestimating defensive Mortars sometimes, and honestly, I literally ignore Mortars half the time. If they're normal Mortars, it's not worth responding to. So if you think about it like that, you don't want to save them for offense. You can use them for defense and just apply a ton of pressure with the other cards in the deck. Keep an eye on your opponent's spells and what they have to use to distract the Mortar, and pair your Cannon card offense, Skelly King offense with that. Here is the best Graveyard deck in Clash Royale. Graveyard is a very strong win condition ever since the introduction of the Evolved Witch, and they go hand in hand because while your Graveyard is getting killed by your opponent, your Evo Witch practically can't be killed. She's going to constantly heal off of these skeletons, and that's going to allow her to just stay alive for a tremendous period of time, forcing your opponents to respond more to it. And if they have to respond more to her, then you're going to be able to build up another Graveyard push while you have the Elixir lead, and even in certain circumstances get more than one witch down, which is insane, no pun intended. There are substitutions you can make in this deck. People use Ice Wizard instead of Spear Goblins. I'm pretty sure people also use something instead of Ice Spirit as well, maybe Spear Goblins, and it's just to get a faster cycle. But this is currently the #1 deck used by Graveyard players, and the synergy between the Witch and the Graveyard is really what makes the deck pop. And I would personally always recommend using the Evolved Witch in this deck. If you don't have her, it might not even be worth using. Next up is the best Goblin Giant deck in the game. It is the most brain dead deck in the game. It takes absolutely zero skill to play, and that's why you see a ton of content creators playing this deck, because they're not good enough to play with something else, so they play this deck instead to make it look like, hey, you know what, I can win games with. Then they're going to go back to 1700 once they get back to their main deck. But this is an extremely powerful deck because it requires basically no thought process. You wait until a right opening, which sometimes you can force out of your opponent, to go in with just P.E.K.K.A. the back. Royal Chef levels up your troops, and then you just ignore everything on defense. Or you go with a bomber. on defense. Hallelujah. You just Gob Giant the back, P.E.K.K.A in front, Goblin Machine the bridge, curse everything your opponent uses so it takes more damage and turns into goblins, and by the time your opponent spends 7 extra elixir than you spent defending that, you have another one ready to go, and the cycle continues until you win. This is the best Goblin Drill deck in Clash Royale. Goblin Drill is fairly strong right now, especially with the Evo Snowball. The synergy there is just completely unmatched, one of the best in the game, because not only does the normal Snowball push things off the drill, the Evo Snowball guarantees to take things off the drill and takes more time off the clock as well. So you're going to pair the drill with the Snowball. The Goblin Demolisher is a great pressure card as well, because not only is he good at dealing with swarms, he's going to turn into a big chunky wall breaker and apply even more pressure to your opponents, as well as be a pretty good defensive card, because not only is he going to be a walking delivery basically, he also attacks from afar and can handle dealing with most ranged cards in the game and even some beefy cards. Knight is also very good in this deck as well. You got the extremely fast cycle with the Skellies and the Fire Spirit, and the Fire Spirit's going to be good paired with the drill as well, and it just gets that extra damage, and overall the deck synergizes extremely well. You're going to be able to defend almost anything in the game as long as you don't just overcommit with your drills. You can't chuck a drill whenever, but you want to make sure you're always staying up in Elixir, and that way you can always just go in with drills with almost no repercussions. Here is the best Giant deck in Clash Royale. Giant is really strong because Giant is a 5 elixir beefy tank that will almost never get too badly punished. When you go Golem in the back or Lava in the back, your opponents can pressure you pretty heavily. You're going to be forced to respond to that pressure or tower trade, and then you won't be able to go in on offense. So Giant doesn't really have that problem because he's only 5 elixir. You can defend almost anything in the game even after you go Giant. So the Lumberjack and Prince combination is insanely hard to deal with. You don't necessarily start a push with Giant and both of these cards every time, but what you can do is look at your opponent's counters. What do they have for you? And in that case, be prepared to go opposite lane, whether it's the Lumberjack, whether it's the Prince. Obviously, you're going to want to commit to pushes a lot, but you can open up the opposite lane. You can make sure to save your spells for offense. Rage and Evo Zap and Fireball can do a lot if you save them. And the Bombers just to get out of crazy situations, and Mega Minion packs a bunch of damage. This is the best Golem deck in Clash Royale, and it's a little weird because Golem right now is just plain bad. It hasn't finished in the top 200, I think, the last 2 seasons. It's a very bad win condition, but this version is currently being used by a player who is dominating early season right now, and you can see why. It's going to pair the broken combo that we saw from 2 other decks already with the Goblin Machine, Night Witch, Curse, Arrows, Skelly King. It's just the same thing as the other deck, except this one has a Golem in it, an Evo Eye Drag to open up a little bit more of a cheese, opportunity. The defense here is really lacking, so commit to offense whenever you can and be free to tank damage. This is the best balloon deck in Clash Royale. Lava Loon is obviously good too, but that doesn't count because it's not the main win condition. Balloon is the main win condition of this deck, and this is, oof, really good. The outplay potential rivals that of Expo and is one of the best decks to learn in the game because of how much outplay you can do and how many bad matchups you can beat using minor outplay predictions. You can predict with the Evo Musketeer. You can get chip damage using the minor if your balloon just absolutely can't break through. Snowball's going to get things off of the loon, off of the minor. Barbarrel's, decent enough, gets that extra ground troop, which is why it's important to use that instead of log, because there's really just not enough troops in this deck if you don't. And Ice Golem just got a massive buff, so it just made the deck a whole lot better, and this is one of the best decks to pick up in the entire game right now. Funnily enough, this is the best miner deck in Clash Royale. Obviously, I did just post a miner poison video with the Goblin Hut and Spear Goblins and Bats, and that one's really strong too, but Muhammad Light was using this one, and we had to throw him a bone because obviously it's Muhammad Light. He's not going to use something that sucks. And the Berserker is really underrated, honestly, so she's not as bad as she looks. And then the miner, obviously, rocket combination. You have 3 spells. You're never going to take damage with this deck, except you're probably going to lose to lava. If you lose to lava, whatever. you win almost every other matchup if you play well. So it's kind of just the trade-off you take. And this deck, fairly strong. It's definitely annoying because it takes like 5 minutes every single game. So if you don't want to do that, then don't play this. But it is a very, very strong deck. It feels like we've seen this before. This is the best wall breaker deck in Clash Royale because wall breakers are never the main win condition of a deck. They're always just like the minor, the secondary win condition of the deck. Just like with the last minor deck, Rocket was the main win condition, which is kind of funny. But the wall breakers in this deck are a really important part. And you could have gone with Mega Knight wall breakers, but it feels like they're a bigger part of this deck than, you know, another deck with wall breakers in it. So this is going to be fairly important. And OG minor wall breakers kind of died and isn't really used anymore because it's not worth it. So this is the best wall breaker deck in Clash Royale, and I kind of already explained this deck. So this is the best Battle Ram deck in Clash Royale, and Battle Ram is very underrated in my opinion. Obviously, it's just like the wall breakers where it's not really a main win condition, but the win condition in this deck is kind of not as important because you are going to apply pressure all game. Golden Knight, Mother Witch Piggies, Evo Lumberjack, E-Wiz even with the counter push, Cannon Cart, Battle Ram, even the normal version. It's just a ton of Heal Spirit. We got to throw in the Heal Spirit. Some love to the Heal Spirit. It is just a really, really, really overpowered bridge spam deck that is going to apply constant pressure, and you can get Battle Ram value whenever you're able to force out a building or 3-card cycle by going Golden Knight, Battle Ram, and then getting 3 more cards down and getting to another Battle Ram before your opponent can get back to their building. Battle Ram is a constant threat and is very hard to deal with in this deck when you have to deal with everything else going on as well. This is a little funny. I feel like we've seen this deck before, guys. We have. This is the best skeleton barrel deck in Clash Royale, and obviously this is kind of the reason for Mortar's resurgence. Last season, Mortar wasn't great. It was good, but it wasn't great. And this season with the skeleton barrel, oh my god. Evo skeleton barrel just took the skelly barrel to another level. It is a massive part of this deck. It wouldn't be the same without it, and it is absolutely important that you use the Evo and skeleton barrel just in general because it's going to apply crazy pressure. It could be used on defense, does insane impact damage, and provides really good synergy with the rest of the deck. So it's very important to use this Skelly Barrel deck, but there's others too you could find out there, although this one is far and away the best. This is the best Ram Rider deck in Clash Royale, and Ram Rider, while she's fell off a bit, this is still a strong deck that one of the best bridge spam players in the game, Issei, or who Issei maybe, I don't know how it's pronounced, uses. They replaced something with the Goblin Hut. I don't really know why they did that, but I guess it's for Bandit or something. I'm not entirely sure. It's really weird because Ram Rider is not that good right now. So it's kind of a weird, funky deck that most people don't use. But Ram Rider in this deck is actually pretty strong because Evo Exi and Boss Bandit kind of do the hard carrying. And then you got a Goblin Curse to just throw your opponents off guard. Got that extra damage, turn some things into goblins. It's really weird and funky. And I probably wouldn't use it because Ram Rider is just not very good. But hey, if you want to use the Ram Rider so bad, here you go. And this is the best 3 Musketeers deck in the game. 3 Musketeers, while they aren't too strong, can beat some matchups. And if you want the best chance at doing that, this is this. It's kind of remnant of a really old version of the deck. You just have Evos in it. There's Battle Ram, Hunter. It's kind of mid. It kind of sucks. But hey, 3 Musketeers suck. But hey, I've been beaten by this before. Maybe that's because I play lava. But hey, 3 Musketeers right here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the best deck for every single win condition in Clash Royale. Hope you guys enjoyed.